Yes. Chaitya Purusha.
What aspect of it is there which makes it different from person to person?
Very clear one.
It is above manifestation.
So grows by their experiences is the Chaitya Purusha. And how does the Chaitya Purusha come? From the soul. And what is the soul? A spark of the unmanifesting Jivatma. So indirectly, Jivatma is experiencing all these. But because it can't experience in that level, even now I am selling it. But we will discuss it later because I have 100 slides to go. Next. At first, At first it is veiled by mind, vital and body, but as it grows, it becomes capable of coming forward and dominating the mind, life and body. So this is what we should happen. What the Chaitya Purusha has formed and is as a central being now, at present it is not controlling our outer being. It is not controlling our thoughts, it is not controlling our desires, it is not controlling our actions. But what by yoga we mean is, first you should achieve this control. And until this control is not achieved, no yoga is possible, leave alone the higher yogas. So, you should be very clear of how your psychic being, Chaitya Purusha, is dominating you. It is not dominating us now. And once when you dominates, what happens? The guiding law of spiritual experience can only come by an opening of the human consciousness to the divine consciousness. The divine consciousness, Jivatma. And the opening of the human consciousness. How can it be done? Through the Chaitya Purusha and the soul, the spark. There must be the power to receive in us the working and command and dynamic presence of the divine Shakti. We should have the presence. You should not say the divine is working in me. You should feel that he is working in you and surrender. And when he is working, you will not say you wait. You should surrender. It is that surrender and that control which brings the guidance. Next.
Surrender ourselves to her.
First. Most important is the Prakriti, not the Purusha. That is always, I said, you always remember, it is by what we call by default. When I say surrender, it means to the Shakti. Next. In accordance with the triple character of the sacrifice. What is the triple character? You again remember? Nishkama, equality and expertise. We may divide works too into a triple order. The works of knowledge, Jnana Shakti, the works of love, Kriya Shakti, the works of will in life, Ichha Shakti, and see how this more plastic spiritual rule applies to each province and affects the transition from the lower to the higher nature. Next. The yogin's distinction from other men, I can say, this is the most important aspect of life which you should find. What is it that is presses from inside to express you as what you are? Am I clear? There is an inner pressure which is pressing you to express yourself. And there, the three things are given. One is, of course, the Annamaya and Pranamaya, and then Manasu, and then Buddhi. And beyond Buddhi, what is there? It is that which is pressing you. And now we should understand the difference between the mind and the Buddhi. But for the present, you just remember, mind is like a library. It contains all the data. And Buddhi is that which decides which data it is supposed to use. So Buddhi is the deciding factor. And Manas is the, what we should say, gathering factor. And unfortunately, in our present day education, it is the gathering factor which is important. We are never telling to our students or to our wards or to our children that you should know how to decide. Many times when I go to a hotel, I ask someone, what do you want to eat? He says, as you wish. I ask another friend, he says, as you wish. It is not my house, they can eat whatever they want. Even that small decision making capacity is vanishing. When someone, you go to a house and they ask, will you want a cup of tea or coffee? You say, you give whatever you want. You have been offering a decision, give the decision. At least the yogi must give a decision. At least in these small things, if you can't decide, how can you decide when the big things are there? So the buddhi aspect is the deciding factor. You should decide and stick to it, because you have decided after taking everything into consideration, the pros and cons. Without taking the pros and cons, you don't decide, is it not? So when you have decided, and because some X or Y says, if you change it, then what happened to your buddhi? Got the point? So a yogi must be very firm in his decisions. Buddhi. Decision means indirectly the buddhi. Next. There can be this one, what I have underlined, you try to concentrate, but accept or repel an activity of the mind according to his feeling, insight or experience. Now, the buddhi has to decide. The mind has a lot of gathered information. Then what it has to do, until and unless the inner presence or power of light decides for it and says you do this, until then what you have to do? You accept or repel an activity of the mind according to your own feelings, insight or experience. So never say that I will wait for the intuition to dawn. It won't come like that. But when you are gone deciding, the intuition dawns. That is what exactly scientific life is. What does science do? It goes on experimenting, and while experimenting, it records the experiments, and then it decides what is best in the next experiment, what is best in the next experiment, till it gets the real clear illumination. The illumination, of course, comes from the scientist also from above. But he prepares himself for the illumination by the actions, by the deciding factor. What do you decide? Whether you are working for the egocentric cause or you are working for the presence. That is where your decision must be motivated. Next. Now, when you are doing these experiments, mind you, it has not dawned you, you don't have an illumined mind, you have just a great gathering of material in your mind, and you are trying your best to your knowledge to live according to the presence as you think. You are not yet aware of the presence. Then what happens? It is possible at any period of the inner spiritual progress that one may experience an extension rather than a restriction of the activities. There may be an opening of new capacities of mental creation and new provinces of knowledge by the miraculous touch of the Yoga Shakti, aesthetic feeling, the power of artistic creation in one field or many fields together, talent or genius of literary expression, a faculty of metaphysical thinking, any power of eye or ear or hand or mind power may awaken where none was apparent before. So your progress in sadhana, even though that illumination is not there, I am not even talking about the super mind or over mind or intuitive mind, I am talking about the illumined mind, just a bit higher than the higher mind. Then also you get all these possibilities of Yoga Shakti. Certainly you will find that there is an expansion of your activities. Now your activities are not limited to your particular chosen field of action.